Hello, my name is Justin Bright, and welcome to Kerbal Space Program version 1.2.2, in which I am attempting to make kerbals a multiplanetary species. 3, 2, 1, launch! What we have here is the first in a series of things that we are going to be launching out to Duna to start building out the infrastructure there that we need to conduct an initial flags and footprints mission. So I have a couple things in mind planned, and this is going to be the first one. This is a big package of satellites, communication satellites for Duna. Alright, with an altogether very boring launch, we have gotten our set of satellites up into orbit around Kerbin. So let's just finish off this circularization burn. And there we have it. Beautiful. So we have some solar panels on here. Nice big ones to make the journey out to Duna. This is a kind of a hefty transfer stage using a Terrier. And the core functionality that I wanted to have on this particular probe is the biggest relay antenna I had and the biggest direct antennas that I have as well. So we've got those on the side, and this is going to be like the core relay satellite in orbit around Duna. And I just wanted to make absolutely certain that I'm going to be able to have communications at all times. So I have a whole bunch of little mini relay satellites that are down. I just have 4 of them attached radially here to decouplers, and they're going to get kicked off and get sent off in various places. Maybe I'll put one around Ike, that sort of thing, so that we should have 100% uptime all around Duna, so I don't have to worry about the issue that I sometimes get on Minmus, where I'm trying to land and I just don't have signal. Okay, so this is what I've come up with for the burn out to Duna. So we've got a pretty standard burn out there. That's the purpose of this one is to get out there a little bit ahead of the descender, because I realize I don't actually have any communications that I'll be able to use as I'm landing is the thing. Like, I'll be able to get something in orbit, but I may have trouble with something actually getting down to the surface. So I'd like to have some satellites overhead first. So this will get this my satellite network there 4 full days ahead of the lander, which will be plenty. And this is going to take almost all of the delta V that I have left. I've got a 1,282 meter per second injection burn to get us out on a course towards Duna, and the nice thing is that's going to hit pretty directly, not going to need any real corrections, and then it's going to cost us another 900 meters per second to actually slow down into a nice big circular orbit. As I was fiddling with this, I managed to accidentally, deploy all these solar panels, which is, not ideal, but it's not actually going to bother anything. Not that you can see anything in the dark here. There we go. But yeah, all the little solar panels on this got knocked off, but that's not going to be a problem. I did a little test deploy of one of these satellites, and they come off fine without breaking anything, so this should not be too big of an issue. But now I need to hit this fairly precisely, so we're going to be careful getting this down. Because this is going to be a 2.5 minute burn, it looks like. Two minutes. Minute and a half. Oops, slow down more. Ready? Go! Beautiful. So, nice long 2.5 minute burn. Alright, coming to the end of this burn here, so 30 meters per second, 20, 10. Slowly finish this one off and see if we can't get that as close as possible. Don't actually need that, that's just for... Whoa. We only need that other thing for mathematics purposes. Alright, so we're really close. Did I go too far? Approaching. Let's approach. There we go. Got our encounter back. And we're moving it. Ooh, 251 days. I don't like that. Shoot. Shoot. Okay. I gotta figure out what I can do to fix that. Okay, looks like I just sped up a little bit and our encounter is not going to be great, but it does get us there in 251 days, 3 hours, and 35 minutes, and that gets us at the periapsis about 45 minutes ahead of the descender getting into the sphere of influence, so that should work out, and we should be able to fix the rest of this from there. Alright, and this one here is another nice big launcher, 3, 2, 1. And this is actually the ascent vehicle that we will be using, or the descent and ascent vehicle that we will be using on Duna. So the idea that I have is that we're going to send Kerbals over in Luxurian style, maybe 6 of them, on the Starlifter. Then we're going to send this over. It's going to rendezvous and dock with the Starlifter in orbit of Duna, land with 3 of the 6 Kerbals, and we'll talk a little bit more about the actual design here in a moment. Land at a rover that I will show you shortly, and then we will they will drive around, do some science, find ourselves a good place to set up base camp. Then they'll be able to head back up in this module, in the ascent vehicle, back up to the Starlifter, dock, rendezvous and dock again, and then they'll be on their way back home. So I'm actually pretty happy with this design, and I'll show you in just a moment when we are in orbit. Alright, here we have another long burn going out to Duna. So let's go! And while we're going, I can talk a little bit about this. So this is actually, if you look at the numbers, I'm spending about 1200 meters per second of delta V getting out to Duna, and then the stage is going to be mostly empty. There'll be a little bit of fuel left to do some corrections on the way and adjusting my final trajectory, but I want to try out this 10-meter inflatable heat shield that Rover Dude created. Mostly because I think it's fun, not necessarily because I feel like this is actually useful, because underneath that we have a perfectly capable Poodle stage that is going to be able to both rendezvous this craft with the Starlifter shuttle, which should be in orbit at some point around when this thing gets there, and then descend and then land properly, because there's some parachutes on here, but that's not enough on Duna. There's also going to need to be some propulsive landing that happens. You've got landing legs and some RCS attached to this decoupler. That is actually kind of my triumph on this one. I felt very clever when I put this together, because the way that this is set up is, hold on, let me finish this burn. 3, 2, 1, stop. And just coast. There we go. So we've got that, and I'll adjust that in a second. But this thing has RCS here on this decoupler, which is going to allow it to get this part of the spacecraft up to and docked with the Starlifter shuttle. Then this part's going to come off when it takes off from Minmus. So this is going to decouple. And then this is on the center of mass of the vessel that will be going back up into orbit. So the RCS is balanced for both of those stages. So it's centered, the center of mass is somewhere in here when this whole thing is together and I'm descending onto Duna, and then the center of mass is right about here when I am returning back into orbit, and I thought that was pretty neat, and that helps me save parts by not having to have a whole bunch more RCS. I just have 2 sets and they are both balanced. So let's see how we did with the orbit. We didn't. Oh, wait, nope. We're actually pretty close. That's better than I usually do on these. So let's... It looks like I need to slow down, maybe? Yeah, let's slow... If I slow down, what happens? There we go. We get nice and close. And that's kind of what we're looking for. So this is a nice close trajectory that we will adjust as we get closer to Duna. And the final launch of the day is this monstrosity. 3, 2, 1, launch. Oh, it's very hefty off the pad. But this is a rover, which has a little bit of living space. It has supplies. It wiggles wildly. Oh my word. There we go. Settle down now, please. Okay, are we okay? I think we're okay. I had to build this thing very, very weird just because of the way that, just to do the VTOL thing with engines and probe cores and such in odd places. And I'm letting this go a little bit more vertical than some of my other launches, just also to kind of make sure that nothing weird just happened there. But anyways, this is going to be the rover that the folks that are landing on Duna are going to use to cruise around, find some biomes, do some science, that sort of thing. Alright, and just coming up on our maneuver node is the last thing that we are launching today. It's hideously unbalanced, but hopefully this will work out. Goodness gracious. I don't know why this thing is so out of control. This wasn't doing this on the tests I was doing a little bit earlier, but that's fine, probably. Make sure we're controlling from the right place, and yeah, it's just wiggly. I don't know what the deal is. Well, that's fine. Anyways, this here is something I'm having trouble seeing because the sun is not cooperating, but we are slowly turning. But this rover aim camera is going to be something we get out to Duna. We have a geology lab, service bay full of science, some pop tents for habitation, a big bucket of supplies in the middle here, all the science and surface scanning and everything else that you could ask for. And this will be landed with these big VTOL engines on the side here. There's some parachutes too to provide some assist, but as I've said a million times, that's not something I'm counting on being able to use. So let's get this burning out to Duna. Alright, I'm still not 100% sure why this thing is so darn wiggly, but whoa dear. Yeah, reset the camera, and let's just kind of hold tight and see if we can't get this out on a trajectory where I can chuck this thing into Duna's atmosphere to burn up, or at least impact the surface, one way or the other. I had to seal a little bit of fuel out of the upper stage because my ascent was kind of garbage, and I wound up not burning quite as efficiently as you would like. But that should not be an issue. I'll be able to put this fuel right back in. This has a weirdly huge amount of delta V in this stage. These honey badgers, I guess, have great specific impulse for some reason. But we should be able to do everything else we need to do with that upper VTOL stage. But I would like to get this in a place where I'm not leaving debris in orbit around Duna, if nothing else. just finish this off. Close enough. Let's see how we did. Not terrible. Oops, pointing in the wrong way though. Just whip around and try to correct this a little bit from here. There we go. That'll do. When we get closer, we will correct this, but I don't think I'm going to worry about it until then. This thing can just kind of, you know, exist and point at the sun and all of that. Let me make sure that I do have an antenna on here, which I'm going to need for sure. So let's extend that, and then I don't have to worry about this too much. I'll just put this on. Just keep an eye on when this leaves the sphere of influence of Kerbin, make sure everything is ship-shape, and then we'll forget about it for another year. Alright, so here we have the Starlifter reactor ship, which is going to be dropping off this big reactor module to the Starlifter shuttle in preparation for our voyage to Duna. So we are about a day out from Minmus's sphere of influence, so let's go ahead and just warp on in. This thing is on a pretty quick trajectory because we really needed to get Bill home, because he has 12 days of habitation left, which should probably be fine, but there's I wanted to make sure I took a quicker trajectory here and back so that there wasn't any issues of him not being able to control his vessel because he was grumpy. Alright, so Starlifter shuttle is our target. We are not that far. It's pretty good. There we go with that. So now we're on. And what I'm just going to do is we're just going to push down our... So we're at the periapsis here and the ascending node as well. This is roughly about where the... what do you call it? That's roughly where their orbits touch. So as you can see, it just kind of whips around, so I can actually meet it wherever I want by slowing down most of the way and then just coming around one more orbit, because I selected this place where where my target is going to be. Like, so if we're guaranteed that the target's going to be hereabouts, then it's just a matter of getting there at precisely the right time, and I can do that by shortening my orbit. So let's do that. That's in 2 hours. I think luckily we won't have to screw around with bouncing between other vessels until I get this completed, which is very nice. Alright, coming in on this node using Kerbal Alarm Clock because I do not want to miss this. And there you go. Cool. Ooh, easy. Don't let your impatience get the better of you. Okay, so now we got about 5 seconds until we are ready to burn and capture around Minmus, as well as make our rendezvous burn in the same maneuver. Very handy. So I'm hoping that this works the way that I think it's going to. Like, I'm not actually 100% sure I'm going to be able to attach this construction port. I haven't tested this at all, so I guess we're going to see. Very slowly finish off the burn. There we go. And we have, whoa, what are you doing? Wow, okay. Yeah, let's just use RCS to fix our encounter to about 0.4. That seems fine, although I can turn on fine controls and get that down to 0.1. Very nice. We should be able to see the sun where we are, so let's warp around to it. All right, we are rapidly approaching the Starlifter shuttle. Should be able to see it now. Zoom, there it is, 1.9 kilometers away. Hello, what's happening? Oh, it is, okay. I wasn't seeing the puffs of RCS gases, so I was becoming confused because I had fine controls on still. There we go. Looks good. Looking very good. All right. So we are coming in 90 seconds from our closest approach. There we zoom. Ah, that was kind of cool. All right, let's kill some velocity. Would like to bring this very close. So that Bill can jump out and do his work. Oops, other way. I'm never the direction that I feel like I am pointed as far as my controls, it seems. But this is fine. We just need to get close. As if we were docking, but not quite. Ah, this thing holds so steady. I love it. It is decently balanced. All right, so we are nestling up in between the boosters back here. Push down a bit, up a bit. Slow it on down. Figure out which way we're actually going to zero out my relative velocity as best I can. Don't bump that, please. There, maybe? Okay, let's save our game. Bill, jump out. Attach your drill. And let's take a look here. Turn on our lights. So what I would like to happen, I would like this to just be as easy as grabbing this. Is that, nope, this, it is bottom that I'm looking for here. Shoot, getting a little far away. Grab that, attach. Whoa, made a, that made the, I'm a little worried about what just happened there. It made the noise from docking port sounds. It's probably fine. Here, let me just drop this again. Because I want to rotate it now. Is what I'm looking for. There we go. So I can't quite see. Oh, yes, I can. There, made that dang noise again. It's all very troubling. Okay, let's see what happens when I try to dock this. I'm gonna guess explosions. first I've got to... Can I... Nope, I cannot. Here, we need these to be facing in the same direction as I understand it. We set this as target. We control from here. And let's use this to even more finely control our approach. And hopefully we're going to find out right now whether or not I understand how these construction ports actually work. Whoa, take it easy, friend. Just about there. Ka-chunk. Cool. So we're docked. Now what happens? I'm going to F5 one more time. And we are going to compress parts. Ta-da! Hooray! We did it! Awesome! So now we can see that the this nuclear reactor is attached directly onto this fertilizer tank in the back, as if I had built it that way in the vehicle assembly building. And we can now extend some radiators, so we have some neat looking fins coming off the back here. And I guess we can just leave these Gigantor solar arrays on. They're not hurting anybody back there. So, let's start the reactor. And retract our solar panels. I want to see how this works on power. I guess I didn't need to retract those because we're about to go back behind the sun. Or behind Minmus. Away from the sun. And electric charge looks like it's still reducing slowly, maybe? But then it jumps back up. It's kind of pegged at 1055. And then if I time warp, it seems to go down and then stop going down. I have no idea what's going on there. I feel like what we're seeing here is the electric charge rate being throttled by the reactor because it's under 30% load right now. So I think what that means is this is only under 30% load, so we have no reason to worry. We have enough power to make our journey without having to worry about running out of electricity if we ever get occluded, or if we, you know, if we're turned wrong. And in no amount of darkness is going to stop the Starlifter shuttle from being able to provide life support and supplies and so forth to the intrepid astronauts that are traveling upon it. Okay, yes, this is why you save, because this thing detached weird. So what I was trying to get, and what this did not... Oh no, this is my fault. Check your staging, people. Scott Manley tried to warn us. Okay, so... And decouple. And that leaves the reactor behind with the big radiators on it, and this can now head home. Bill Kerman, his job is done. So, let's get him home in... Ha! He visited the glorious Starlifter shuttle, and so he now has indefinite time before he has to come back home. So I guess he's not in any kind of hurry. So let's head home. With a periapsis of 22 kilometers. This is our path home. There it is, fading off in the distance. The Starlifter shuttle. It has greatness ahead of it. So I'm wondering, as we fly away from the Starlifter shuttle, if the fact that this had previously been part of that same vessel as the Starlifter shuttle, which is now Starlifter shuttle base, I guess. Hold on a second, I don't like that one bit. Rename. You are a ship. Oops, too far. Switch. And this has apparently become Starlifter Shuttle Lander. Strange. But I guess that makes sense because they were briefly part of the same vessel, and that's the way that Kerbal Space Program deals with docking. It does it by making one ship the child of another based on what type it is. Alright, so yeah, he's still indefinite as far as his need for homesickness, or his homesickness is so low that he's not going to have to worry about that. I think indefinite just means... I thought that was something only that happened to pilots and scouts, but apparently he was in such an awe that it worked for him as well. But he has 19 days to get back, so we're in no huge hurry. Now we're in orbit of Kerbin itself, so let's put a marker down on the periapsis, about 5 minutes out. Beautiful. And yeah, that shouldn't be in anybody's way. So we will deal with that when he gets down, and there's no huge hurry. I thought this was going to have to be like a big thing where I was making sure that he got home in time, but we're fine. Everything's fine. And we have 2 more big ships big things that we will be handling, but it looks like we are all out of time. So we will have to get to that next time. If you enjoyed this episode, please go ahead and leave me a like and subscribe down below, and I will see you in the next episode.